Hello, hello everyone. This is JAH with EQ with JAH. So today, I've had a wonderful day. I got let me turn that down a little bit. I keep my my tunes in the back, Gotta always have some music going. Keeps the energy up, keeps the spirits happy. Anywho, I want to continue the conversation about anatomy of a power couple, or what some like to call twin flame unions. What are the other things called? I don't know. I just call it twin flame. Oh, twin flame, soul journey, soulmate unions, all of these beautiful things that we love to talk about. Okay, so basically, what I wanted to touch on was simply talking about how I left off, where once you step into the spiritual realm, once you acknowledge that you indeed are on a spiritual journey and that you are trusting the universe, which already does everything for you without ever asking. You know what I mean? Like, you wake up every day, you get up and move. Like, the only time you ever notice that it's not working is when it's not working. And that's the worst time to notice when something's not working, right? So this is the moment when you actually step out of the 3D. You've gone through enough things in life where it doesn't matter how you grew up. It doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter what you understood is the conditional patterns that you've been given to say this is you. Like, if someone ignored you over and over and over as a child, and then you get older and you just assume people aren't talking to you and they think you're ignoring them, and it's like, oh no, I'm just not used to being acknowledged. These are real traits that continue a butterfly effect or a ripple effect throughout time. So even though it seems very trivial and small to think about these things, and then we ask the universe these big questions like, who am I and why am I here? Well, the answer is for self-reflection and actual change and application. A lot of the times we are handed this tool of change, but we have no implicit idea of what we're doing with it. We go off of other people's, what they want for us, what they want to do for us. Our parents say go to school here, they say work here. Everyone suggests that we should do certain things that they think we're good at, but sometimes it can be one-sided and it's not really for the betterment of the person. So I want to emphasize, when you're on a spiritual twin flame journey, you're on a daily spiritual journey. Every single thing you think about and do, it does reflect back to the journey that you're on, the assertion level per se. Sorry, my cat, he just finished eating, so he wants some attention, so it's all good. So I do have some notes here, so because I write a lot and I need to talk a lot, so they're mostly bullet points. But one of the things that universe, I forget to tell you, I am clairaudient and clairsentient, so I keep music on. I like to have TVs going. Anything that can make a white noise, a noise of any sort, it helps me get messages. So sometimes I do channels, sometimes it's just me and my soul talking through the ego and the experiences that we've encountered, and just sharing that knowledge and giving it back. But usually when I get messages, I have to write them down because I'm not always able to contain them all or hold on to the thought process, I guess. But what it was given was, it was saying that in spirit unions, a lot of the times when you listen to Toro and different things, or tarot, I say Toro because I'm a little ghetto. Toro, I'm bougie ghetto, I'm bougetto. Toro. Anyways, when you hear X, people automatically think it's their 3DX. 3DX means this flesh. I can touch it, I can see it, it's not flat, it's not two-dimensional like a piece of paper where you can see it sitting on top of something else, but it's just not standing out. No, it's a 3D form. When you hear X in the, I guess you can say, existential and the spirit realms and the healing world, it actually means that the soul energy which your soul fell in love with, okay? Not the ego flesh, not these eyes and this mouth that sees what it wants to lick and touch, but the actual moment of when you go home. And think about it this way, this is for adults. If you've been there, you say you had a one-night stand, you meet somebody, they're hot, they're sexy, they getting you going like, yes, they got all the parts I like, they got everything sitting right, they go home with me, and y'all both lock eyes and you're like, it's going down. And then you go home and you passionate foreplay and making love, or just having passionate sex, whatever you want to call it for the moment, because when we're all doing it, we're in love, right? And then afterwards, once you're satisfied, two things happen. You either actually enjoy the person and you give them the opportunity to introduce themselves through the soul, because once the flesh gets what it wants, it's done. Literally, everyone knows that feeling. Once it's done, you literally don't care, or you're not even thinking about anything anymore. It's just gone. You're done with it. And then the only thing left is the person, not the vessel which you just interacted with the person. That is the soul. That's the part that's like, so now that I gave you me, can we talk? Can we get to know each other? Or you get up and go, because your body's like, oh yeah, I only wanted the flesh. I'm done with this. I'm gone. I'm out. I don't really care who they are. These are true parts of dating in the power couple world. So when you've gone through enough of these cycles of one night stands, dating people hoping that they might change, being with people thinking they might change, all these expectations and explanations become part of the 3D flesh. And then it becomes part of the 3D paradigm, which is who I need and seek looks like this. And that's not it. It's not because you love men with tattoos and are tall and this and that. No. They're associated with things. Men with tattoos mean, they go out there and they're the bad boy, or women with tattoos, they're a badass. This is the conceptual thing that we've attached to it. Or if we say height or stature, oh, they can protect me, or I feel safe. I'm 6'4". A lot of people say that. I feel safe with you. And I'm like, I want somebody to make me feel safe. Shit. I'm sick of everything. Everybody feels safe. What about me? Like, I'm fine. I'm great. But, physically, that's what the 3D is. So the 3D is the ego. So anytime that you're living for the ego and you hear X in the spirit world, it's not talking about any of that. It's talking about that energy that when we watch a romantic movie and we see them go back and forth and the climax and all of this, and the plot thickens, and finally towards the end, finally they get it, and then they kiss and you love them, and I'm like, oh my God, finally, yes. That is a shared emotion across the collective conscious. That means within our souls, we all recognize what love looks like, feels like, energetically. Not because they finally made them kiss, but we know the buildup of the most passionate thing that you can do when you really, really love somebody romantically is you kiss them. And we all know this feeling. We know the difference between a mom kiss and a pet kiss and someone that you really want to share your life with. That's that innate gut intuition feeling of the soul being in love. So what happens is, a lot of the times when we go out into the world, we look at templates that carry the energy that we want to be with. So let's say you like someone that's dominant. Okay. Dominant to me in my mind is, I like to take control of situations in our lives and handle them effortlessly. Excuse me. Not dominant like I'm gonna dominate you in the bedroom. No, that's an ego thing. On a soul mission, it's about dominance of, I will take care of protecting the world. I know you can protect yourself in it and protect us from it, but I really love doing it, and it just makes me feel so freaking important when I can do that for you. That's dominance to me. That's also assertiveness, not aggressiveness. Aggressiveness is, I want it now. Give it to me like this. You see how I said it? That's control. That's ego. Assertive is, well, you know how I like it. I appreciate how you did it, but you know it gets me happy, right? And from right there, it's asserting yourself into power and energy that you want to exude, that you can exude. That right there, my friends, is when you're like, okay, I see you. Same with submissive, not beta. Do not get it twisted. There's a lot of fuck toys out there. And they use beta energy to get you. When you're not able to spiritually align with yourself and actually truly attach to the law of manifestation by understanding the law of duality, people cheat, people steal, people lie. That ego of the beta They never learn how to do survival. They only know how to mimic. That's why when they're in the wolf pack with the little beta wolves, like they want to be big and bad. They want to be the one that can lead and see and have the forefront of thinking of how to take care of the group and protect them and keep somebody happy. Yes, that's an alpha. A beta's like, well, I don't want to do all that, but I want the attention and the power. Right? Okay, so then that's when you start getting these fuck toys. Baby, 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 I can take care of you. I can say anything to make you feel good, to get into your life and benefit from you the way I want. Because now there's people who are actually going around sleeping with people to stay with them, to be taken care of. They don't even love them. They just really just, you can take care of me until I find out what I want, until I come up or whatever. And there's people willing to do it because they really believe they're in love. And until we start again going through the elements of emotional attachment, which is part of the emotional intelligence process. But emotional attachment is, why do I think I need a certain type of person to date? Why am I attracted to a certain type of personality? It's not the person, again, it's not the imagery of what we've been fed. Innately, we know what that energy feels like. If a bad boy wore a leather jacket and he used to wear tight-ass jeans back in the day, now, well, actually, people wear tight-ass jeans now, but that wasn't associated with a bad boy. Wearing tight jeans back in the day was because you don't want to show your dick print. You don't want to show your camel toe. No, you're supposed to be appropriate. So back then, that was bad. Ooh, they're rebelling. That's what fashion was used for, to go against something that was conformity, that made no sense for anyone, which came from a whole nother factor of something I'm not bringing up, religion. But trying to control people. So if we trace this back and you really go back into understanding, the original message from Spirit was, and it came through as this: in the spirit unions, your X is not your 3D physical X. It's the energy of the past that reinvents and rewrites the character. Okay? The energy of the persona is the same. It will tempt you. It will try to get to you. It would, at any way, as soon as you being good and you're on your way and you're just out there like, I'm good. I'm dry. I don't need nobody. I can get myself wet. I'm happy. I'm good. I'm good. And then it's like, you're close to that, being on the best version and path of yourself. And then here come that fuck toy, looking all cute and thick and busty in certain places. I look at the crotch. But what I'm saying is, these are the things that Spirit is both what we call good and bad, dark and light. It's all the same thing. It's, at some point, you are in the dark and you are the seed, and you can make all of the choices you want to understand creation. But once you sprout, that point you have to accept that you're in the light, honey. You ain't going nowhere. Day and night, it's gonna come and go, and you have no choice. When you in the seed phase, yeah, you always in the darkness. So I'm young, I'm learning, I can figure it out. Yes, do that. Date, hang out, have fun, get to know people, learn what you don't like, so when it keeps happening to you in your adult life, you'll know what to look for what you don't want. Because that's Spirit as well saying, I showed you all these examples. Yes, I gave you the cute one with the hair and the things because you said you liked that and I wanted you to have a good time. But I didn't say get attached to them and compare every single person you date to after that to them. That makes no sense. That's crazy. No, there's no aesthetic of person that you're in love with. You're in love with the energy that person brought through that aesthetic. And therefore, you stepped up to another level of, I know what I want. That's the soul recognition saying, you like them because they treated you a certain way, or they had confidence and carried themselves a certain way, or they had attributes of yourself that you respect and you hold to a high esteem, and they carry those qualities. That's why you miss them. Not the 3D person. Again, it's not the flesh. It is the spirit, and the ego is the only thing that is between you and them, but it's the vessel that you see, but you fall in love with the essence of. So basically, I always summarize it. Spirit's always like, stop summarizing my stuff. But it was basically saying, if you double check on God's progress, it's like an architect who keeps coming back to the same buildings they built and designed and making sure that the structure's still holding. Now, in this moment of knowing you designed it and you put forth all of the continuance which makes it stand, the math, the design, the materials, right? You sourced them, you did all your work, right? You planted it in a good spot. And then from there, you just let it be what it needs to be. That's the end of that message. It's like chicken scratch. I write them down very quickly. Sometimes I'm at work, so I just write it whenever I can, and I'm like, I gotta talk about that. It's basically saying like, yes, like, do you go back and check the work that you've done from years ago to make sure that it's still done? No. So, I mean, yeah, you can go back and admire it, yes. But you don't keep going back and tearing up the same roots and asking why it's not growing. Because we know nothing grows that way. Roots have to take some type of foundation. So when you understand that this foundation starts with knowing, first of all, who you are, learning through your own trial and tribulations of, this don't work for me. And I know that, and you have to say it, when you have one night stands, yes, they can lead to more, but they're empty. They're empty, meaning they have no contextual value to them besides the fact that you are turned on by an aesthetic. And that's the truth. We're walking pornos, people. That's all it really comes down to. If someone's that eager to get into your pants and not even get to know you, then you're a walking porno for them. And that's okay. As long as you know that that's what you're down for. But once you get to that point of, okay, I need more romance, I need more love in my life, you have to start paying attention to the templates. Because if you meet someone that you love and they don't fit your template, then that means you need to destroy that template and get to know someone. Because you don't know what value someone holds based on the stereotypes and the things that we grew up with in high school. Date this one because they do this because they do this, and then they all hang out in a group. Everyone's not going to hang out in an easy, convenient group like high school where these are the jocks and these are the cheerleaders. These are the people who literally represent who they are based on the aesthetic of how they look and dress and the culture that they're given. That's how easy high school was. Then people come out of high school, go to college, do the same damn shit, and then come back to the regular world with regular folks and then act like I'm supposed to treat you like you the ish. I don't know you from yesterday, my friend. So another message, I have a couple of them. Let me keep reading them. So I get distracted so easily, y'all. So it was saying, the spirit was saying, it just came straight through. Low function vibration, it plays games. When you feel someone playing a game with you, constantly making you want to argue about shit that don't matter, constantly picking at things, all this, that is literally low vibrational beta energy. That is it's saying like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to keep testing it on you until I get the answer I want. That's why when people say, why do men or women get better after the fact? Because you were their best test. You were their best prototype. If somebody come in giving you shit, I'll let you go right away. Thank you for your time. Goodbye. It's only been a day. That's all it takes for me to say bye. If I see that you cannot be honest with yourself, communicate appropriately, then you're not for me. And that's a good segue. An alpha will always approach you. Always. May it be in conversation, may it be in speech, may it be in approaching you physically, may it be whatever. The initiation begins when an alpha sees you, and they will let you know, I got my eye on you, and I'm watching you. Yeah, you. Of course, there's ego involved. Some like to sit back and watch you, and that can be another game, but be careful with that, because if you play into that ego of the game, then you're playing into that level of that beta fuckboy shit. Again, remember, I use loosely boy a lot and men a lot because I'm gay and I talk about gay men primarily. So if you're watching this as anyone who goes by anything else, thank you for watching. But my primary thoughts when I speak is gay men because I'm a gay man. So, that's just how it goes. But of course, I love you all. Thank you. So basically, yeah, alpha does not need to play games and send a friend over and sitting here going through all your social media trying to see who you are. They're going to say, hey, how you doing? I really like your media. I like your content. I like what you're about. We should talk sometime past these apps and get to know each other. Not, oh, can we talk? Well, I prefer to talk on here because, I just think it's better that way. You cheating, or you got somebody else, or you insecure. When I hear that crap, you gotta go. I ain't got time for that. I'm digressing anyways. Beta people, they cannot manifest naturally. It is not in their energy because they have yet to conquer simply growing up in the existential world and in the tangible world. Because when you are an alpha, you allow yourself to see what character your body represents to the rest of the world. If someone comes up to me and they're like, well, you're tall. Okay, I didn't ask to be tall, but I know I'm tall. So therefore, there are attributes contributed to me that I would have that you might not, and maybe you appreciate that. That doesn't mean that I play basketball. That doesn't mean that I can dance. It doesn't mean I can do any of that stuff. I mean, I can, but you know what I'm trying to say. But there's people who base it just on the aesthetic. That means absolutely nothing. It doesn't mean that I'm good. How about that? It doesn't mean that I'm talented in those parts. Dancing, yes. Basketball, no. But the point of what I'm saying is that understanding myself enough to know this helps me get closer to the type of thinking that helps me see within to the soul mind. Not the ego mind. The ego mind sees all this, comes in and tries to perceive it and give it back to the soul mind, and tries to give it back to the heart mind and everything. And it tries to say, okay, this is what I saw, guys. Let's try to make sense of this. If you can. And that's when that autodidactic moment happens. These two hemispheres were always going to be there. They are connected to the eyes. But that little part between them, that space between the gray matter and the flaps and the dark space between the synapses, that's where God exists, and the autodidactic moment of your duality kicks in, of the understanding of I am not only divine masculine energy, I'm divine feminine energy. And when I learn to see both of those qualities in myself, I appreciate myself more. I appreciate my body, my hands, my face, my everything, the teeth, the hair, everything of what it is, how I'm built, how I present myself, how I think about how I like to present myself. These are all qualities of your feminine and your masculine coming together and marrying in union to say, we love ourselves. When you don't love yourself and all you focus on is the body, that's divine masculine energy, because all it thinks about is the shell. When you don't love yourself and you just let your body go to waste, destroy it, don't care, and you become super cerebral, but let's admit it, kind of dicky. There's a lot of people who are super cerebral and don't take care of themselves. And instead of loving that they can recognize that their brain can expand past the points of where it's given, they become bullies or nasty people and try to put people down. So these are just levels of duality that exist within ourselves that we reflect back on others. Get it? So I know it's a lot to take in, but this is the point of we have to trace the pathology. People are so comfortable with the easy recipes to the answer of do this, do that, bam, instant love. That's not how it goes. That's not how it works. That's not how it works with work. That's not how it works with school. That's not how it works in life. It's just not how it works. There are people who get free passes, but guess what? You just gave them a beta timeline to follow, because for the rest of their lives, they're going to be conditionally thinking that they can get away with things because, hey, I've gotten away with it my whole entire life. And there's some people, shit, they make it from the birthplace to the grave living like this, easy peasy, off other people's laurels. And that's where you have to pay attention to. There are 3D bodies that exist in front of us, but there's a universal connected energy for the divine collective of the collective conscious, which is all masculine energy and all feminine energy, no biological parts connected, are connected to all living things, all sentient beings. Everything that can exchange oxygen and carbon dioxide and vice versa. If it can take oxygen, if it can, whatever, doesn't matter what it expels. If we are all breathing living things and we can eat it and digest it and it's organic, it has to have a feminine energy and a masculine energy. The seed in this, the this and this, the like a cherry blossom. You can't even have them without having the male tree and the feminine tree, or whatever you want to call it. I didn't mean to say male, I meant to say masculine. See, even I'm conditioned. But the point of what I'm trying to say is that duality exists all throughout the universal planes of life. So that means when you see the ebb and flow of the balance of insertion and receptiveness and how they come together like puzzle pieces, and how one has to be the penetrator and how one has to be the receiver, because if you got two penetrators, it doesn't work. Yes, I know that's a good gay joke, but that's what something else is for. But the whole point is, it still comes back to the energy, again, not the biological parts. I just thought it was funny because it was cute. And I know there's somebody out there like, whoa, that's what he said. So when you can marry the two inside of you, not the 3D body, but inside of you first, because it took me forever to say I was gay. Yes, I physically was gay and living a gay culture, which was going out and partying and hanging out all the time and then dating and all that. Yeah. I hung out with my gay tribe. But when it came to growing up and going back out into the regular world, which is our 9 to 5 jobs and all this other stuff where it doesn't matter your background or who you're dated or what you're doing, you better get in there, you better do that work. We're all bodies at that point, right? That's when it's easy to detach and realize, oh, I have to start building a lifestyle for myself that is cohesive and conducive to stability. To, if I want children, that means I got to get used to not partying all the time and going out and needing to be up until, it just happens. The luxury of, for me, is, I get to choose the life of the baby and the person that I want to share it with. I don't have any oopsie babies, but that's usually how most people get their lives together. They have an oopsie baby and then they stop drinking, they stop smoking, they stop partying. Some, but that's how some people get their clarity of, this is how I get to my love. This is how I prioritize my love. This is how I get to what I see has relevance in my life. Because if you are so stuck in the 3D world that all you live for is the ego, that's why we have a lot of people who are bored. And they're all on these apps every day, and they're going out and they're drinking and they're mad and they're fighting themselves and they're fighting the society. That's someone who stopped loving themselves, and they never gave themselves the opportunity to love their ego or their soul. You know what I mean? Like, may it be through conditional love and what your parents on this 3D world gave you, you still know innately what you feel and what you deserve. And you might not know what it looked like, but you definitely know what it feels like when you get it. You know what I mean? When people become super codependent and clingy, it's not because they are so in love with you. They're in love with the concept of being needed, of being wanted, of being near something that is warm enough to make them feel like they felt when they were a child, when they were in the womb, when they were close to something that loved it unconditionally. As adults, we have to go out and seek this and choose to either procreate or not. But the point is that you have to build your life for what you want to accept into it. When you start prepping yourself, just like anything else, I'm going to go on that trip. You start saving the money. You start buying the tickets. You start looking at the destination. You start everything. You can plan that trip for a whole year, and then the day comes and you never go. There's people who do that. But until that moment of you walking out your house and walking to that airport and getting on that plane, that is when you actually just made creation happen. Everything is contextual in quantum creation when you write it down and you think about it and you make it real in that aspect. But until you put real functionality behind that purpose, it ain't gonna move. You can have all the purpose in the world. If you don't have functionality to propel it, give it kinetic energy to move, it ain't gonna happen. And you can be the most functional person in the world, but if you have no passion behind the things that you do beyond just getting it done, then guess what? That's where you end up in a place of not knowing how to energetically connect with someone when you meet them. So the thing that I'm trying to really hammer in is duality. Duality. The first step in the twin flame relationships with the universe. The twin flame relationship is not just a romantic one with some 3D body that you met on this earth. It is a relationship with the universe. You're talking to the air, the water, the fire, the sun, the moon, everything, every element of the ethers, of the 4D ethers that create us. Because it starts there and comes down here for the dirt and the soil, all these minerals, materials be here. Something started in the ethers of our galaxies and in our atmosphere that created all of this, where energy just exists. It's just becoming attached to the atoms and everything that it just makes it form and come together. So when you send out those energies and you thank the energies that exist before you even existed. Come on now, people acting like, oh, well, I ain't real. Okay, well, that fire is real as day, and it definitely didn't ask you for permission to exist. That water been here way longer than all of you. So who are you to say what's real or not? These are the reasons people are like, oh, you're crazy. You hug trees. Yes. That tree has more history and more freaking knowledge than I will ever have because it's weathered storms, people, stuff, elements, everything that wants to live on it and around it, it's experiencing. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of humans who can say they've experienced that much life happening around them in a stagnant place, which is why us being able to walk around and move around this earth on these planes, on these legs, on these feet is such a beautiful concept because we're able to energetically see what is drawn to us and what we're drawn to, and we get to go seek it out and be a part of it. So when you understand this element, the law of duality, look it up. It's a very, 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 very intricate idea, but it's a very simplistic one. Law of attraction. What happens this way is going to happen this way. Cause and reaction. So as you start focusing in on understanding that, the one thing that you have to be willing to do is sit with your pain. In order to get through any of this journey, and the whole purpose of this journey is once you stop living through the 3D, and you actually say, okay, I'm done. What is the purpose of this life? What am I doing here? What am I really doing? You're going to have that aha moment, that God moment, that moment of, oh, you want an answer? Let me have a tower moment and take away everything you got. Because there's people around here who ain't never had it, and they're happy as hell. But let me see how you can deal with that. Let me take away everything you got and see how you can hold up. People fall apart and break down, go right back to their 3D comforts, drinking, smoking, abusing themselves, not listening to themselves because, see, I tried, I give up. No. You know, that branch broke off and it was growing quite some time and it was how, you know, it was taking care of itself until you came and broke it, right? But it started over. It didn't have a choice. And then it grew back and stronger and better, and there you go. That's how universe tests us. So it's going to say, I'm going to give you the concept of what you think pain is. And I'm going to let you work through it and see if you take it as a lesson, a blessing, or something that makes you renege on your word and go right back to what you told me that you didn't want to do anymore. Right? So when you can understand that, okay, that hurt. I've been there before. That sucks. And then you go right back into that comfort of pain. You know what? I'm going to go to my house and I'm going to get that bottle of wine and I'm going to drink and I'm going to just sit there because it makes me feel better. And then you get drunk and then you start texting people and then you start saying stuff you didn't mean. And then the next morning you wish you never drank that bottle of wine. That's an old paradigm of something that I used to do. And until I said, you know what, Joanne? Instead of feeling bad about something that you know, you've already, the scar is done. Why would you take the same knife? You know it can't go, no, it goes deep as crap. And they say you got to put it all the way in. And they gave you a shallow knife, but you were still looking at the blade because they handed you this knife that had a shorter blade, but you were still thinking about, oh, it's going to hurt. But they're like, but the last knife was bigger. No, I'm used to this pain. And then the healing hurts again, all over again, even more so intensely, because you've already experienced that energy. But now you're going to experience it again, and now you're back where you began, and then you can say, well, see, nothing ever gets better because of this. That's 3D, and you will never get to your union relationships in life. You will never vibrationally attract the type of unions you're meant to attract. If you take that shallow knife and go, y'all some sadistic mother suckers, but okay. Freaking hurt. And then that person walks by and they're like, good, I'm making sure you did it right. Because if you did it, you were going to get this sword. That's how life works. That's literally how life. Take this little residential pain where you live. Or go out here to this big world and take the global pain that seems so much worse. And then it actually turns out to be better for you. And then you actually get to grow and you get to see past the conditional things we've been given. When you can see past this, you're able to open your heart more. You're able to see past, damn, I thought I had it bad. But then I just saw the life they live every day and they still have gratitude. I think I have something that I can be grateful for every day. That starts to marry the soul, because then the soul says, thank you for finally recognizing what I do for all of you. Thank you for seeing me. And then you start feeling better about yourself. And then the soul starts saying, you know what? Let's start taking better care of ourselves. And you say, okay. You finally stop fighting. The soul's like, yes, fuck yeah, I got him. Woo! When you say, I'm in love with myself, That's that moment. Like, we date ourselves our entire lives. The ego dates the soul, and they both go at it. Like, why are you not listening? And the soul's like, I just want to make you happy. And the ego's like, I don't care about that. I'm here every day doing all the work. I don't need it, whatever, you know. And that's where the discord begins. You have to say, look, I know working out's hard, but it's going to help us both in the end. I know listening feels like it's annoying, but it's going to help us all in the end. I know that, you know, just being happy for absolutely no reason can be annoying, but it made someone else's day. These are the things that marry you to yourself, and then they marry you to the world. And then you're able to better understand the energy of power couples. Every single video that I do on a power couple, because I see that it's starting to get dark and I'm losing light, I like to use natural light. Every single thing that I'm breaking down for this, it's going to seem very, very, very like he's talking a lot about the same thing, but it has to be embedded into the head. It has to be a conceptual value so that when you start believing what you actually see, because remember, belief is trust. It's not yet there. You really don't know, but it's on the other side of the fence where it's like, I want to be in the trust side, but right now I'm still in believe land where I know this is real because it's happened, and I can believe that that trust is real, but I don't really know. I only see the pain, and you run back to the pain. That's believing. Trust is, oh, I might get hurt, but I trust that it has a purpose. I trust that the functionality for this happening to me has a bigger purpose that's connected to my soul's journey, not my ego's journey. And remember, once we pass, we pass. That's why there's so many people who are very like, get this done while you're living, because the soul knows it only has so much time to get things the way it wants to. The body can live 80, 100 years and it feels so long, but for the soul, it's been an eternity. That's why we're able to be born and all share a collective energy of what happy is, what sad is, what mad is, what this is. Those are collective energies of the divine masculine and feminine that have been shared since the beginning of time through our ancestors and generational things that have been handed to us. So that's why it's important to trace the pathology of yourself, trace the conditional values your family gave you, because you have to remember, they might not even believe in that themselves because they lived a certain life that didn't replicate or look like the energy they said it was supposed to the outside world. We can be prim and proper, but on the inside of the house, they ratchet as fuck. But people live off of that. That's how gossip starts and all of these things. People living for the paradigm of their 3D worlds. So you have to remember, I'm not connected to that anymore. So energy and spirit's going to test you and say, hey, remember that thing you said you like? Do you still like it? Nope, I'm good. Thank you. I learned my lesson. I do appreciate it, though. That's cute. And it's like, good job. Now here's what you really wanted. Thank you, Spirit. I really appreciate it. And then you go enjoy it, and you walk away and you go about your day. But you don't sit there and hoard it, and then you don't do any more movement. That's why people get stuck. That's why these twin flame relationships, when you're like, oh, he's my twin flame, and I'm going to sit there and fight for him and be with them, but, you know, it's really sad and abusive, and that's not a twin flame, honey. You're dating a beta who is a chromatic twin flame replication of the energy that you're still showing through the 3D ego that you said you wanted. Because that's the law of duality. You're going to get what you want physically when emotionally you don't want it if you're not putting in the work. You're going to get what you want mentally, but once you get past your ego and stop looking at the flesh, it don't matter what the flesh look like anymore to you. You get to that soul level. Each time you can do that, you start recognizing yourself. And when you can recognize yourself, you recognize the soul. And when you recognize the soul in yourself, you recognize it in others. And this gets you to that next level of appreciating